In this day and age, it is practically impossible to avoid social media. We all spend hours on it every single day, me included. And yet, none of us take a second to step back and look on how it might be affecting us in our opinions. Today, I'm going to be talking about how social media radicalizes people. To understand how social media radicalizes people, we have to understand what radicalization even is. And generally, radicalization means moving from a more tame opinion to a more crazy and extreme opinion. It's like going from jalapenos to Carolina Reapers. Huge jump. Carolina Reapers are just so much more crazy than jalapenos. And we know that social media actually is radicalizing people because of research from the National Institute of Justice shows that the longer an individual spends on social media, the greater likelihood of them being exposed to or engaging with harmful or potentially radicalizing content. And one of the main ways social media actually does this radicalization is by creating echo chambers. And that's the main thing we're going to be talking about today. Now, when I say echo chambers, you might wonder, Lil Booby, what's an echo chamber? And honestly, that'd be a good question. Not many people know what they are. So let me explain it to you. Basically, as said by M. Sinelli, an echo chamber can be broadly defined as environments in which the opinion, political leaning, or belief of users about a topic gets reinforced due to repeated interactions with peers or sources having similar tendencies and attitudes. And that was a big long jumble of words. So let me, condense it, make it more concise for you. Basically, an echo chamber is a place where your opinions get reinforced by, the people you talk to, the videos you watch, the sources you see, while having, other opinions be just knocked out and not supported whatsoever, really pushing your biases. Now that you understand what echo chambers are, you can now begin to understand how they're actually created on social media platforms. And one of the ways they're created are through their algorithms. As found in T. Khan's article about understanding social media algorithms 101 for parents, social media algorithms are created to make the most engagement on the platforms. And I think this honestly becomes readily apparent when you think about what you might engage with, like or comment on. I'll give you a second to think on that. That's probably enough time. I don't know. This is pre-recorded. And it'll usually fall into two extremes. Either something you completely agree with, or something so far in a different direction that it's hard for anyone to defend it. And that creates an echo chamber because these algorithms split the black and white from the gray, the middle ground, It only gives you the extremes. It'll give you what you really like and what you really hate. Because then you'll start to think, how could anyone support anything other than what I believe? Because, you only see the worst of the worst, the bad. And, that's generally how algorithms create echo chambers. This typically applies to stuff like, Instagram, TikTok, stuff like that. Another way that social media platforms create echo chambers are through bad moderation practices of online spaces. So, as someone who was, and low-key sometimes still is, chronically online, I have seen and experienced a lot online. And in my experience, there are two main offenders of having bad moderation practices. that being Telegram and Reddit. Starting with Telegram, Telegram is an encrypted messaging platform similar to maybe like WhatsApp. And its moderation, unlike WhatsApp, is completely non-existent, honestly. Basically anything flies. And that allows for the most toxic and radical ideas to flourish and spread on there. Because the people with these insane and crazy radical ideas are also the people that would hurt others because of an opposing opinion, you know? And what'll typically happen is that someone would spread an opinion in a Telegram chat with these radical people, and these radical people disagree, or someone does, at least one of them. And what this radical idea holder might do, or usually almost always it happens, they'll dox the person, and doxing is like getting your address, who you are, your phone number, your family members, and just, spreading that all over. And bad stuff happens when that happens. Or, they can also get you to lose your job. That was bad. That is pretty bad, to be fair. And, generally ruin another person's life pretty easily. And this type of consequence creates such a huge fear of sharing opposing and different opinions on Telegram, thus letting these radical ideas to flourish unopposed, creating an echo chamber, because when you have these opinions going just free, nothing stopping them, it's going to feel like, oh, that's the only opinion, so it has to be the right opinion. And that's, not always the case. And in contrast, Reddit uses systemic isolation to create its echo chambers. And if you don't know how Reddit works, which I wouldn't blame you for, Reddit is made up of something called subreddits. You can think of them as like threads on Instagram. And in each subreddit, you can make posts that can be upvoted, downvoted, and commented on. And each subreddit has moderators that moderate for that specific subreddit. And these moderators are able to ban or just give consequences to other users just whenever, for free, for any reason. Nothing gets checked or anything. And so what happens is that if a moderator wants their community to stay pure, to say the least, they simply ban anyone who brings up a counter argument or completely disagrees. And sometimes it goes so far in that direction that some subreddits have bots set up to detect if you participate in another subreddit that they disagree with, they'll just ban you. And that just allows the same people to interact with the same people, no opposing ideas, no counter views, no nothing. Letting the same idea just flourish in that one place, thus leading to an echo chamber. Now that we understand what echo chambers are and how they're created through social media, we can finally begin understanding how they actually radicalize people. And let me start you off with a question. If someone is being flooded with ideas and videos that reinforce their own views while being isolated from opposing views, what do you think would happen to their opinions? I'll give you a second. No, I won't. This is pre-recorded. You can just pause it if you want. At least in my opinion, it's only common sense that their own opinions will become more and more radicalized as they get more reinforced, and that person will become more and more stubborn and stalwart on their opinions. And I think what helped me realize this really helps put it in perspective is this quote I found in an article by P. Barbera from Barack Obama. If you're getting all your information off algorithms being sent through your phone and it's just reinforcing whatever biases you have, which is the pattern that develops, at a certain point, you just live in a bubble. And I think this bubble analogy is perfect. Because when you think about it, what is a bubble? A bubble is air separated by a soapy layer from the outside world. And that's what happens in social media. Like, when you look through a bubble, it distorts reality, it changes. Or it distorts light. The light will bend and twist. That's what social media does to reality. So when you sit in a bubble, you have a distorted view of reality compared to everyone else. And I think that's part of the echo chamber effect. But what was more damning evidence for this, at least in my opinion, or what really put it in perspective, or what made it really crazy, is that a lot of this distortion is created by a very small, vocal minority of people online. And we saw it with the Telegram people. Those radical thinkers on Telegram make up a small percentage of the actual, base of Telegram. Most of them are criminals. Like, most of the people on Telegram are criminals. That's a really bad platform. But the evidence I found was from an article called Inside the Funhouse Mirror Factory: How Social Media Distorts Perceptions of Norms by C. Robertson. And it states, while only 3% of active accounts are toxic, they produce 33% of content. And that's wild to me. What do you mean 1/3 of the time I'm only looking at 3% of the opinion? That's what? What? It's crazy. They also found that 74% of online conflicts are started in just 1% of communities. And I think the most damning part is that 0.1% of users shared 80% of fake news. 80. Huh? What? What do you mean? 80% of fake news. 0.1% of people. That's crazy. And the effect of all of this is the active distortion of reality of situations for the average social media user, because you're mainly seeing stuff that represents a small portion of the actual population. So, I hope you gained a little bit of knowledge on how social media does radicalize people. But before you go as well, I want to give you guys a few tips and tricks to prevent yourselves from being radicalized. Starting with one you've definitely heard before: don't believe everything you see and hear on the internet. And you might think, oh, I already know this. This is common sense. And it might be common sense when your brain, functions. But at least for me, when I'm dead tired, dead to rights, on my bed after a long day, I don't want to think, and I just want to consume slop on Instagram Reels. And I won't, and it's really hard for me. And I want to tell you guys to keep it in mind at all times, because I know it's hard for me too, and it'd be hard. It's hard for everyone too, but it's more important than ever with the amount of mis and disinformation. And secondly, if you don't get anything from this speech, please get this. Do your own research on anything, like political topics, environmental topics, social, anything. Don't just use social media as your source. Yes, social media does have information. It can have true information. But a lot of it is false or biased in some sort of way. So is most, articles too. So go out, get multiple sources, see both sides of the argument, and make your own opinions. Don't just follow one or two creators on YouTube to get all your political or social or environmental opinions. Go out and make your own. And that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a great day, because this is third period. And let's head off to the outro with some sick karaoke. So this is going to be the one and only take of this. This is Backstreet Boys' I Want It That Way karaoke version. Hope you're excited. You are My fire, the one desire, believe when I say I want it that way. But we are two worlds apart. Can't reach to your heart when you say that I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say I want it that way. Am I your fire? Your one desire. Yes, I know it's too late, but I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say I want it that way. Now I can see that we're falling apart from the way that it used to be. Yeah. No matter the distance, I want you to know that deep down inside of me, you are my fire, the one desire. You are. Don't wanna hear you. Ain't nothing but a heartache. Ain't nothing but a mistake. I never wanna hear you say I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say I want it that way. 'Cause I want it that way. Yes. 2 a.m. recording session over. Y'all have a good night, man. Oh, wow.